Hi, everybody who's watching, and thank you for joining. This is our second episode of Music Industry Talks, which is a weekly webinar series where we're live streaming on Facebook right now, and we'll be talking about what's happening right now in the music industry. And I'm here with a special guest, Lindsay Schoolcraft, singer, songwriter, and harpist from Oshawa, Ontario. How are you, Lindsay?
Hey, I'm pretty good. How are you?
Good, good. Regardless of the weird, difficult times, strange times we're going through right now in the music industry.
Yeah.
What have you been up to? First of all, congratulations on your Juno nomination.
Oh, thank you.
That is amazing. And for those of you who don't know, Lindsay's album Martyr was nominated for Hard Rock, Hard Sound Album of the Year. So big congratulations for this.
Thank you. I'm still shocked, honestly. I wasn't expecting it, so it was a big honor.
Amazing. How was that? How did you react to that? Were you expecting something like this?
No, I wasn't expecting it. And I went through a really rough patch back in January. I feel like sometimes the universe does things to me to test me and see how really badly I want this to be my career. And, it was near the end of the month and I was like, okay, things are getting better. And then I got the announcement. I just broke down crying. I wasn't expecting it. It's like a dream come true. I've wanted it since I was a teenager. So it's a really big deal. I'm really grateful.
Amazing. For sure. It's one of those milestones. It's amazing. And you've had a pretty busy year with your album release and the shows you played, and you released the album independently, right? So you've just been busy kind of being your own label. Can you tell me a little bit about that, your process?
It was really a snap decision that I committed to fully, and I've learned a lot from it. It feels like the album release that's never ending. It just keeps going. And that's okay though, because when you're independent, you can call the shots. You make all the rules. It's my baby. So yeah, it's been going good. I really enjoy it. I say record label lightly, but essentially everything I'm doing myself independently is what a record label would do, but on a small scale. And it's more work, but since it's full time, it's I don't mind doing it because at the end of the day, there's no middleman. I receive the funds and I can continue to pay for my art and make a living off of it. And I'm really grateful for that. So yeah, it's been good. It's been really liberating, extremely rewarding, at times very testing and exhausting, but I have a really great team around me. I have an assistant. I've promoted her to label rep. I hate calling her my assistant because everyone's like, does she do your laundry? I'm like, no. And I have a whole freelance team of people that I call on when I need them for certain projects, and they've just been fantastic. I'm so glad I didn't take a record deal.
You get to make a lot of your own decisions and do things 100% independently. So I'm sure has it been have you learned a lot from this process?
Yeah, more about royalties and payouts. I'm just wrapping that up now. More about kind of distribution I find really fascinating. Yeah, it's just, you take it as you come, because, there's days where you're just doing what you're supposed to do. And then you just get this email out of nowhere with a new opportunity. And you're like, well, okay, I'm going to embrace this and take it because, I think that's kind of the magic to get excited about having a career in music, because you never know when that gift or that surprise is going to show up at your doorstep and just change your life forever,
Amazing. Yeah, for sure. And also you are currently writing a new album, right? You've been in the studio.
Yeah. So it's, I've never done, actually it's a lie. I haven't done anything acoustic in a really long time. And I love, something that I've always kept in mind with my music is, and maybe it's just the era of music that inspired me and influenced me. I like when you could take a harder song and you can break it down to something acoustic. I really love stripped down. I'm from the MTV Unplugged era, definitely. So I have this electric harp, and I was just going through my business records and I realized, oh my gosh, I've been a solo artist for 10 years. That's something to be celebrated. That outlasted any of the other bands I've been a part of. That's really something special. So I decided to do all of my, well, select songs, people on my mailing list already know what it is, but I decided to do select songs from my back catalog, 10 on harp, 3 on piano. I just incorporated a cover just as like a celebration, but it's going to be very ambient, and I'm just really enjoying it. And I was like super uninspired to like rework some of the old songs because they came from piano, and like piano doesn't always transfer very well to a harp. So I was like, I'm like stuck, I don't want to do this. But then it was really nice revisiting an old song and really feeling the lyrics again, just like in a different situation, you know. So like it kind of, my old songs came back to heal me in a way. It was a really beautiful moment. Yeah, I've had a great time doing it. I'm just finishing that up right now, so I can't wait to release it. It'll probably be out in July, you know. We'll, depending on what's going on in the world, hopefully.
For sure. We have a question here from our attendees. Sure. Gaia is asking, what was your biggest challenge for your release as an independent artist?
Well, hello, Gaia. Thank you for asking that question. So my biggest challenge, that's a good question, because I planned really far ahead. Like I planned it 8 months in advance. I think some of the biggest challenges for me was actually I had to fire a few people from my team, and I hate firing people. I just feel so bad. I don't think anybody ever wants to fire anyone. I just like the idea of causing suffering makes me feel terrible. But the thing was, I was really figuring out my team and who I could rely on and who was not working specifically for my project. And I think that was honestly my biggest challenge, especially planning it around, at the time I was in a well-known metal band called Cradle Filth, planning it around their schedule, because like things could just pop up last minute. And it's like, you know, as a full-time member, it's like, well, I can't say no, like, you know, and if I did, I'd just get replaced, and I didn't want to do that. So it was like, okay, well, you know, that was difficult too. But as far as other stuff goes, everything else is pretty easy. Like anyone who knows me personally, like I'm a super planner. I make sure things are like done 2 months in advance. Like I'm not a last minute person. I hate being last minute. It forces me not to sleep at night, and then I get very grumpy, and nobody wants to be around grumpy Linds. So yeah, that I say that was definitely the biggest challenge. And then like the first time doing all the orders from my apartment, like my apartment turned into my e-commerce web shop. And since October 7th, we've processed almost 600 orders out the door, which is like incredible. Wow. And I'm really grateful. My fans are awesome. Like they are the reason I'm still going. But it's like, you know, like you some days you forget you're a musician because you literally feel like you're at an Amazon factory just boxing things. But I try to make it special. I leave love notes and stuff anytime someone orders from me. So
that's really cute. And another live question, Jessica is asking, what's your favorite song from your album?
Oh, hi Jessica. My favorite song, wow, okay. They're all like super personal. That's a tough question. Oh man, I have to like think through all my songs. Like there's like the three, okay, I'm gonna pick three because I can't pick one. Savior is my favorite. It always has been since day one. Rocky was like, no, Dangerous Game's gonna be the single, and I'm like, nah, brah. So Savior, but then I'm also really proud of See the Light. It was the first time I got to do a duet with my best friend Zen. And another song that like is my absolute favorite is Blood from a Stone, because like that was written in 5 minutes, and that's probably the most vulnerable I think I've ever been on a song. So I really appreciate that I was able to convey that and communicate that, because like oh man, my team knows, like my poor guitarist, like when I am in the middle of writing a song, I am so vulnerable and I hate explaining myself. And like, you know, when you're halfway through the process and things like the keyboard or the drums don't sound the way you want to yet, and people are like sticking their nose in things and giving their 2 cents, and it's like, everybody go away. I'm in the middle of making magic. So like, you know what I mean? So like being able to kind of just like really put something raw out there that was so stripped down, that was like a big deal for me, a really big deal, because I think that's like the most, I think, naked song I've ever written.
I love Blood from Stone. Love it.
Oh, thank you.
And actually, there's a question about your writing process. David is asking, how does your songwriting process work in your band? How did the process go with your album?
Okay, hi David. Thank you for asking that question. Wow. So, here's the thing. I make things look so presentable online, but like I'd say 70% of the time behind the scenes of my life is absolute chaos. And with this album, Rocky contacted me and it literally went from a cover, which was Lullaby, to 3 songs, which at the time turned into Warn Me and Remember. And then it just kept going. It was like, at one point we were like, okay, we'll do a cover, we'll do a single, we'll do an EP. Okay, we're doing a full length album. It just, because me and Rocky have a really good songwriting chemistry. I mean, yeah, like it's one of my idols. Of course, it's gonna happen. Like, you know.
Do you want to say, for those who don't know him, do you want to mention what he's done?
Yeah. So sorry, I just say his name. It's not like you know, the boxer. Rocky is he's Rocky Gray, the original drummer of Evanescence, and he's Grammy Award winning. He is I call him the Timbaland of rock. Like the man, anything the man touches just turns to gold. He's so talented, and he contacted me, and that's kind of how this all started. Like he's just like, hey, let's work on music together. So like at the time I had to pull over my car and just have a freak out because I was like, one of my idols since I was like 15 or 16, whenever Fallen came out, their debut album, like just said he wants to write music to me, and I just lost my mind. So we started working on it, and then, you know, at one point I think we were on we had like 17 songs, and we're like, okay, like we need to calm down and cut. Yeah, like my goal is have 11 and 13. So like 11 for the album, 2 bonus tracks. That is like a magical number in my opinion. Both I think are very lucky numbers if you're into that stuff. You know, like what is it, numerology or something? I don't remember. So, you know, we just kept chipping it away. I find like our system was 2 songs at a time. Mm-hmm. And then near the end, like the stripped down stuff like Blood from a Stone and My Way Without You were just kind of like, they came out of nowhere. They like, because it was just me. It was just very like unplanned. It was me getting out an idea in a moment. But when it came to the full rock songs, so it was either I was like, here, Rocky, here's my basic idea, work your magic, or he'd be like, hey, here's a demo, you know, work your magic. So I'm really bossy. Like I was like the arranger for the most part. Like I was bossing poor Rocky around and be like, no, this is the structure. Like he's like, okay. But like he would call me out if like my melodies were boring or like my lyrics were bland, or if he knew, like the thing I love about Rocky is he knew when I was stressed out and rushing things, and he really told me to just like take a step back and go back and watch like a live DVD. That really inspired me. Sometimes it would be his work. Or like go back and just listen to an album that really inspired you, and then I just like come out with a clear mindset and we go. But it was a labor of love, but it was very painful because you know, we sometimes I'd be told, oh, you're gonna have a certain amount of time at home, and then it would get taken away all of a sudden, or it would get cut in half, and then I have to go on the road again. And it's not that I wasn't grateful for it. For the time I was in Cradle, it was an incredible experience. I'm very grateful it all happened, but it was just frustrating because I was like so in the zone and like so passionate, like my heart was burning on fire with passion, and then it's like, and then it's taken away from you, you know what I mean? And it's like,
for sure.
And it didn't mean that it wasn't there when I was on stage with Cradle. I had a lot of fun with Cradle, but it's just like, it's almost like, it's like grieving a loss. It's almost like painful, but I bring like the demos and the lyrics on the road with me. So like between 2000 and most of 2016 when Cradle was on tour, like I was actually writing from the road, and Rocky was like updating demos and sending them to me. So like we still made it happen regardless of our situations.
How did you handle being on tour for so long and then having to juggle that with like your personal project, your personal life? Like how, because you were gone on the road for so long.
Yeah, it was tough. Like that's the thing. A lot of people think like unless like you really have nothing, like, and I don't say this as a mean thing, but if you don't really have anything going on back at home, it's easy. Like honestly, when I joined the band, I went through a really awful breakup, and I just wanted to forget about it. And then Cradle Filth called me, and I had something to do for 6 months. You know, but then when you get home, your problems are still there, and you have to deal with them. But it was tough. Like, you know, I call my parents every 2 weeks. I call my sister. She's a traveler too. She's a photographer full time. So, yeah, we kind of live the same life. And I call, you know, my partner for the last 2.5 years has just been incredible. We'd call each other once a week. We have so much to talk about. Well, we're both musicians, so that probably helps the matter. But yeah, it's a lot of work. And the thing that I learned is like self-care, and I sobered up. I stopped drinking because drinking didn't make it. Everyone's like, oh, it's party. And like, no, it actually makes it, as you get older, like the drinking makes it harder. Well, especially as a singer, because it wears down your voice.
For
and it's
sure.
like, I just started this concept on tour of like, it's not about me, it's about the show and the fans and making them happy. So that's kind of what got me sober. But yeah, like a lot of self-care, like, you know, there'd be times when the guys want to do stuff, I'm gonna be like, honestly, I'm just too tired. And I'd stay back on the bus in my pajamas and read a book all day if it was a day off. But that was part of it. You have to learn how to recharge your batteries while you're in a close circumference with a lot of people at the same time. But in that regard, I was really blessed because some of the people I traveled with, like, I still have long lasting friendships with them. And it helped a lot, definitely.
For sure. And how do you feel about what's going on, like the direction we're going in the live music industry? You know, as you know, like a lot of tours and shows are getting canceled for obvious reasons. And obviously everyone's health is really important, but what do you think is going to happen now that, you know, artists aren't able to have that revenue stream from live shows? What do you think is going to happen next?
I really wish I had a crystal ball. I jokingly have a crystal ball necklace from my friend Mimi. But I think, if anything, I mean, I'm really sad for everyone who lost funds from touring and they got their tours canceled, especially the fans who really wanted to go see the shows. I know that was hard for them, but I think people are starting to see the importance now of having your career online, live streaming and like selling online, you know, your merchandise, because like, let's be real, like the live show and our merchandise is where we make a ton of our money these days. There's not a lot, unless you have like some major crazy publishing deal and you're in movies and stuff, there's not a ton going on with streaming. There's enough, but you know, it's not a ton. So yeah, it's I think maybe bands and musicians are starting to see like, hey, like I should really take the online space a little more serious, because touring is really expensive. Like I haven't done a tour yet because, to be fair, I'm not ready to go into a massive amount of debt to go on the road. I would rather go on the road. Like I want to save up a ton of money so when I go on the road, I don't come back in the negative, because I think that's like one of the worst things. Like that's career suicide. Like that's one of the worst things you could do to yourself. For sure.
And also book a tour that makes sense, right? I think a lot of independent musicians will think, oh, I'll just, you know, I'll go on a tour, I'll book some dates and just, you know, some random dates that, you know, they don't really know exactly why they're going there. I mean, I think it's really important to understand that like booking shows that make sense according to where their actual fan base is. And I think that this is a good time for independent musicians to do a little bit of, you know, just learning about the business and learning how to book their tours and how to manage themselves and how to grow their how to come up with a marketing strategy, pretty much.
Absolutely. Because, I couldn't agree more.
I think online, they're going to have to really do, you know, if they want to keep promoting their music, online right now is the only way.
Yeah.
Being able to do shows.
Oh yeah. And, well, at least we have live stream.
Yeah, for sure. And do you have any advice to share with them regarding, you know, what's happening right now and how to stay sane with everything, not being able to interact and see their friends? And
yeah, it's tough. You know, and I think what's been keeping me sane is my cat. And calling my friends, you know, when I can. But I'm actually a huge, like, you wouldn't probably believe this, I'm a huge introvert, like a massive introvert.
This is a good thing right now. This is perfect.
This has been amazing. Like I'm planning my future. I'm getting down my creative thoughts. I'm like organizing my apartment to look how I want it to look. Like I'm really loving this time because I'm so creative and I have so much drive and vision. It's like now I can track it all out and it's not eating up space in my head, because I feel like this is something I wish creatives would stop doing to themselves. Like get out your ideas, even if you just like put a list or like a vision board or something, because the minute you stop obsessing about those ideas and you can actually see something tangible, then you start getting new ideas. And like you really need to get up to date. So that's where I am. Like I'm flourishing. I am so happy right now. I mean, there's a lot of like you know, dance parties with my cat and singing to my cat. And like, you know, if I'm, he loves it. If I'm vibing it, I look like a total crazy person. Like that crazy old cat lady from The Simpsons in her house robe with the curlers in her hair. That is my future. I mean, I won't throw my cats at people as they walk across the yard, but like, she's pretty much my spirit animal at this point. But yeah.
Is she happy that you're around all the time? Do you think, I mean, my dog's noticing. He's like, what's going on?
My cat is more so just like, what are you doing here? And he doesn't care. He's like, oh, well, he's the most apathetic, grumpy cat. Like, I know he's miserable about something, but he really doesn't care about me. But no, he just, you know, he's kind of like, okay, you're here. So, but it's been like that since, well, we got him in February. So it's been like that for months now. Like, he's just like, okay.
He's gonna have to get used to like when you're not there. I don't know how my dog's gonna deal with it.
I don't want to leave him. He's getting so used to me. It's like, oh my God, if I go on tour again, like, geez, that poor cat. But we have a great household here. We all take care of the pets. So I'm grateful for that.
And I think a lot of people right now are adopting animals, which is a good thing because you know, they're giving homes to a lot of these pets. And it's so important. I was reading like just the benefit of having like an animal at home and pet therapy and all that. So I think that's one way that people can feel better and have that, you know, extra. Animals are amazing. They're just so great.
They really are. Yeah, they are. I wish I could have a dog, but they're too needy for me, and I'm scared they're gonna destroy my instruments. So
they are.
Yeah.
At the beginning, when my dog was a puppy, he just chewed up all my keyboard cables, and I had to buy them. That was very frustrating.
That's awful.
Especially that sometimes they're hard to find, and that was really crazy.
Oh yeah.
Let's see if we have any other questions, live questions. I want to make sure.
Yeah, ask away. Ask me anything. What you want to know.
John wants to know if you're going on tour.
Hi, John. So like I think you're probably just tuning in, but like I stated before, I would love to go on tour. I would love to tour internationally. There has been reach from Mexico, Latin America, and Australia, but obviously on pause right now because of world events. But touring is very expensive. And I don't want to put myself in a crazy amount of debt because that could be career suicide. I think that's why a lot of bands break up or just stop doing anything. So I'm actually doing my best right now to save a really nice chunk of money so then I can afford to take my band on tour and we can do it successfully and right. And of course, like, I'm not going to take a tour unless it's like me opening for a band that my fans say sound like. So like if like, you know, Evanescence or Within Temptation, Nightwish, Lacuna Coil called me, I'd be like, yeah, like, let's do it, because that makes sense for my style.
And you got to open for them, right?
Yeah, I've opened, gosh,
when was
most of those bands, actually, now that I think about it. I opened for Evanescence 2 summers ago. Yeah, that was really amazing. It was a side stage. It wasn't like direct support, but it was in the vicinity. But like now thinking of all my years with Cradle, I've played with like all the other bands too at some point.
Very cool. One more question. Pamela wants to know, what did you do to reach a breakthrough moment in your career?
Who asked that question?
Pamela.
Hi, Pamela. So like a breakthrough moment in my career. The thing is like, it's a buildup. Like it's the minute, okay, this is gonna get deep. So like grab a snack. So a big breakthrough moment is like years of buildup, and something that I'm starting to realize now more than ever is something that I started developing when I was in high school was like psychology of the, I guess, infrastructure of like an artist as being established, and like mindset of like saving money, budgeting, planning, writing, recording, like all that stuff. Like big, like, I mean, a big breakthrough moment could be anything. Like, you know, 7 years ago, I was offered to play for Cradle Filth. That was a big moment. Like, you know, having a friend get me the opening spot for like Evanescence, that was at the time management, now friend. That was a huge moment. You know, like I pay respect where respect is due, and those people who've helped me. Like, there's been so many incredible moments in my career, but I think the biggest breakthrough for me was like, I think like starting this label, like my own little record label, like was a huge breakthrough moment when I was like, I mean, I never saw this two decades ago when I started music, I was like, you know, if you told me in 20 years you're going to own your own record label and release like your album independently, I'd be like, what a crock of, you know, like, oh heck, like that's never going to happen. But it did. And it's been so awesome. A big breakthrough, like a huge breakthrough that I've had recently, as we talked about this a bit off screen, was, you know, I think the future of the industry is going to be entirely in the hands of the musician. Mm-hmm. And part of the reason why I stepped away from the industry just a little bit is because the whole idea of you being someone else's paycheck is extremely degrading. And I've seen it over and over and over again, and what it does to people's mental health and their attitude and their mindset and their overall demeanor. And I really think that the future of artists can be without a label, without management. I think that we can do it entirely ourselves if we understand how to be organized, communicate, a strong leader, and know how to build a team around us. And that's been a huge breakthrough for me. And it's like, you know, if anyone thinks that's just like crazy talk, well, I'm doing it. It does drive me crazy sometimes, but like as anything you love will. But yeah, like there's always huge breakthroughs everywhere. I mean, even recently with recording, so many breakthroughs. I just, every day there's a new thing to learn, like, but some days they are bigger than others. But yeah, that was a good question. Thank you.
And if you were to go back, would you pick the same path? Would you change anything? Would you do something else? Would you still be in industry?
Oh, I'm totally happy with my life. I don't regret anything. I think I've made some really good choices for myself. I love like everything I have. I'm really grateful for my fans and my family and my friends. I mean, like leaving Cradle of Filth really showed me who the true, genuine people in my life are. And that was a blessing. Because like when these big life events happen, we think we're going to lose so much. But like, if you lose something, it was never yours to have in the first place. And you don't want those things in your life if they're not there with good intentions. So yeah, it showed me that the awesome people were, definitely.
Awesome. And David wants to know, is it realistically worth playing live anymore? I love it, but it's a debate I've had with someone a while back.
You know what? The live show is something that should be like sacred and really, really special. And if you love doing it, I'd say like, I find that people just want to play live. I just want to play live, but like, they don't think about the flow of this set list, the stage moves, the concept, the banter in between. They just throw themselves on stage and they just hope for the best. And let's be real. I did that for many, many years before I started taking it seriously. And I find that if you have like 1 or 2 or 3 shows coming up, let's say you do like a little quick tour in your area, but you plan it for like 6 months and you rehearse the crap out of that, like beginning to end, and you put together, like you have other people committed to, and you put together this phenomenal show. I feel like that's what's really going to stand out these days. So if you love performing live, like if that is your thing, I'd say more than anything, like blow people away. Like that's what live music is supposed to do. It's supposed to give people an experience. And if you're not 100% committed to making that incredible experience for people, then don't do it. You know, like really, really, really plan. I mean, I do know a lot of musicians are doing like the whole online musician thing, and they're having their career online. And for some people it makes sense. And, you know, maybe one day they
don't have a choice too.
Well, yeah, we don't have a choice right now. Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. I understand that entirely. That's why I feel really grateful to be like a singer, instrumentalist, so I can like sing and play songs when I feel like it online. So yeah, I mean, it's totally up to you. Like something like, and this is like, I do coach and mentor a few artists on the side when I can. And they always come to me for like some kind of approval, and it's like, and it's sweet, and I'm very grateful. But at the end of the day, you have to feel good about it. It has to feel right with you. You have to be excited about it. You have to be confident in it. There's no right or wrong way to do this industry. Okay, there's wrong ways. Definitely. There's some people who've made some really bad mistakes, and I've seen some of it, and I'm like, what are you doing, dear Lord? But if you're excited about something and you're creating something and you really believe in it, your fans are out there, and let me tell you, like, you will never go wrong. You, even if it's just like down to like a t-shirt design that you're so stoked about. You know, there's like, I thought like my fans were gonna like be like, why the heck are you doing a harp album? And then I put out a survey and they were like stoked, and I was like, see, Lindsay, you should have never doubted that concept in the first place. So yeah, like, and a small portion like confirmed my fear that they're like, yeah, okay, I guess it's cool, but I just really want a rock album. And I'm like, well, you know, another rock album will come. That's never going to change. But
and you also can't please everyone either, right? There's always going to be someone who's going to say something or discourage you, or there's always,
yeah, absolutely. But I mean, I think a big thing is focus. If you focus all your attention and energy and planning and organization into something that you really care about, like it will show, and the fans will love it. And whether it's a live show, whatever creative endeavor you are going down the path with, you know what I mean? So like, again, if you really love doing live shows, go for it. If you just want to be an online musician, go for it. Like, no one's stopping you, no one's judging you. You can make a living both ways if you wish.
For sure. And why the harp? How did you pick that up?
Well, funny story. When I was in my old band many, many moons ago, the guitarist gave me Bjork's Vespertine album, and it's just saturated in harp. The live performance is like, I watched it like 4 times while I was packing orders this weekend. And I just fell in love with it. I got so fascinated. I think it also came from my childhood, like the whole idea of the mermaid playing the harp. I don't know. I'm a weird introvert type. I see myself as like this mermaid sitting on a rock in the ocean somewhere, just playing the harp, being happy with my own company. And that's where it started. And then like I started saving up, and it took a few years, and I got my first harp. And yeah, it's been a long journey. Like, I just love it. I just think it's really angelic, and I'm trying, like, I'm weird. I'm stubborn. I'm just like, I'm gonna try to make the harp like dark and eerie, and like I want to do something different with the harp. I don't really want to do what everyone else is doing. Of course, with trial and error, I'm not going to put out something just because like I can. It has to like really convey something in me, like an emotion in me, before I can be like, okay, people are going to connect to this. Because if I'm not connected to it, nobody is going to be connected to it. But yeah, it's I love it. It's so cool. It's just like, it's definitely my favorite instrument. Definitely.
It's really, really interesting. It's a really cool instrument. Is it
Yeah.
hard to play? Is it like, what are the challenges?
It's uncomfortable in the beginning. Like you, I played piano for many, many years. I never really got my full certification. I really kind of blagged it with Cradle of Filth. I just kind of went as I could and would cry over playing some lines because they were so hard, or like, you know, just filled up space with strings and made it look like I was doing something really fantastic when I wasn't. So, there's so many ways we can come off as impressive. What we're doing is really not impressive. We're, you know, us musicians are quite the performers like that. But yeah, when I first started learning it, I was just a hot mess. And I actually have my first formal lesson tomorrow with Kirsten Copley, who's like Obama and Beyonce's harpist, and I'm like freaking out. She's amazing, and I have so much respect for her, but she's gonna get me on the right path, because I feel like there's only so much you can learn from like watching other people until you like need someone to be okay, like smarten up. You need to like fix these things to get better. And I do want to get better, because life is short. You should just do what makes you happy. Like that's literally where I'm at, especially with everything going on in the world. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do what makes me happy. Like, you know, you can only do so much business, and then you have to get back to
I think that's
your life.
I think that's a really important point. And I think that many have different definitions of, you know, happiness. And some feel that, you know, it's like a few comments I've read lately is like, you don't necessarily have to be super productive during this time. Like, if you want to just do nothing and rest and relax, that's okay. But if you want to go ahead and work on your business and build and create new things, then that's okay too. It depends really on the type of personality that you are, and, you know, what it is that you love to do. I think it's really important, because I think people are feeling all kinds of pressure of what they should be doing during this time, what they're expected to do. Like, do I need to, you know, keep working at, you know, do I need to learn this, or do I need to like build something new? Do I need to create a full-length album? Do I, I think there's a lot of pressure as to what, but at the end of the day, I think it's about doing what makes you happy, whether it's, being super productive or doing nothing and catching up on your sleep. That's fine too. I think it's
oh,
really
totally
important.
like with this whole quarantine, I want people to come out healthy and happy at the end of the day. That's like my wish for everyone. And it's like, if like I know some musicians who've been touring for a decade, and you know what, it's time for them to have like sleep,
a break.
Like, and I'll never judge them for that. Time to do whatever it is you need to do, just as long as you come into this happy. So like for me, playing the harp is just like cathartic. So it's like, of course I'm going to be working on stuff and recording. Like that's what I love doing, but it doesn't feel like work. But did I drop a lot of business things because like places are closed and no one's getting back to me? Absolutely, because that feels like work. And it's like, no, I'm good.
And how do you think things will change? Do you think we're going to learn something from this? Do you think people will want to go to shows more once this is over? Or, do you think they're going to be scared? Do you think there's going to be a new appreciation for the arts? Or do you think everything will kind of stay the same?
I think there's just going to be a whole new appreciation for life. And I really hope that the vegan in me talking right now, I really hope that some countries get their crap together and start regulating their food and consumption of animals, because this is what has kept causing these things. And this has just been out of control, and it needs to stop. But I think, valuing life more than anything. But I think more than, people valuing like what's important to them and their happiness. Like I feel like this downtime is really, I'm seeing friends like take up knitting and pottery and woodworking, and like people
discovering new passions. And
and it's like your side passion doesn't have to become your side business. Like if that's what you want it to be, cool. But like I think people, like, I'm really like, it's been a huge wake up for me. It's just like, wow, like, yeah, my calling in life really was to just write and record music, and I got so caught up in the other details I forgot about like what really makes me happy. So it's I think musicians are really going to see like what's important to them. And you always have to check your intentions. Like, why are you doing things? Like what is it? And if it's a very shallow pursuit, I say stop it. You'll just end up unhappy. But if it's something that just fills you with like creativity and happiness and excitement, then that absolutely, you need more of that in your life. Definitely.
For sure. And how do you stay organized? Do you structure your day? Like, how do you stay, like, how do you structure your day? What do you do to keep busy and to, make sure you're still productive, but also taking breaks? Because now, like, kind of every day is more or less the same.
Yeah. I mean, I have a calendar. I do, I do business Monday, half of Tuesday, Friday, and then every Wednesday, Thursday, I do music. And then Saturdays are for rest. And Sunday, I go and work with my producer, Tyler, at Monolithic Productions. We do a live stream there
Very cool.
and help him with his studio, which is a lot of fun. That's my week. So I mean, it's just keeping a schedule. It's like keeping weekly commitments. It's making a to-do list. Like I try not to overburden myself. I have about 5 tasks a day, and that's it. Because like after 5 tasks, I find everyone has their limit, but after 5 tasks, it's like you burn out and you can't give all your good energy and like brain power to it. There's no point in overexerting yourself for what? Like getting ahead? Like no, so.
Yeah, I think it's really important to, keep in mind that mental health is also just as important as physical health, and keeping that in mind, because we don't know how long this is going to last. We don't know how long we're going to be quarantined. And I think from until the 30th of June, I don't think there's going to be able to be any international flights. So all the festivals from now until then are pretty much going to be canceled.
Oh, I'm so sad for all my musician friends. It's really tough.
And the event industry is for sure going to change. At least from my perspective, it's we just don't know when events will resume, and even the venues and just anyone in the industry. It's really about, I think, becoming creative and finding other ways to support. Given that we can't do our primary business activity, we just have to come up with other ways to keep it going.
Definitely, yeah. And I'm thinking of those people right now. I mean, like when all this happened, I don't know if everyone else is going to think the same way as me, but when this all came about, I literally had to stop. I'm a very aware person. I ask myself a lot of questions, and I just stopped and I said, okay, Lindsay, you have two choices. You can get like destroy your mental health and get worried and paranoid and be online all day, seeing people treating social media like their diary, venting their frustrations. And, you know, you can continue to try to force business when no one's open, or you can stay off of social media, especially feeds, and you can use this time to do what makes you happy. And that was literally the choice I made for myself. I haven't really been online, but like outside of that, I've been extremely happy. And I think happiness is a choice.
Yeah.
You know, I had to choose after I left Cradle, I had to choose to see a psychologist and a therapist. I had to choose to work on myself. And it's like, we all have choices. And a huge thing for me now, like where I'm at in life is like, I just like going back to life being so precious and your time being so precious. Like, I was just like, I'm not going to waste any more of like my God-given talents, you know, wasting them away while I mindlessly scroll Facebook feed. That is the biggest waste of your time. And it's like, I have so much I want to give to this world and so much to offer and so much music stuck in my head that it's just driving me crazy that hasn't gotten out yet. It's like, I'm not going to waste any more. Like it just hit me so hard. If Pamela, if you're still here, I think that was the hugest breakthrough this year when I was like, I'm going to just give what I know I want to give and just stop being on, like, social media is a tool, but it should not consume our lives and take up space in our head, honestly. So if anyone can take away anything from that, like if you're really suffering right now, call someone you love, call a friend, chat, stay off of the feeds. It is so depressing and there's so much misinformation. Put away your phone and do something you love. Do something that makes you happy, especially when you think it won't at first. Just try. There's no obligation to be successful at it. But I find at times when I really don't feel like doing something, when I at least go and try, is actually when my brain switches and I have the most fun ever. So
I love that. That's really awesome advice. Thank you for sharing that. Lindsay, since you won't be playing live for now, how can people still support? Do you have your merch store? What do you have available? I know you have these like really awesome. It's just people haven't seen it. Like your album, it's just so great. It's really cool. You have your vinyls too. Can you talk a little bit about that? How can people still support?
Yeah, it's schoolcraftshop.com. Anything that you purchase from there is going towards this new harp album. The more support, the better. Maybe I can bring on more musicians, maybe, hopefully. Yeah, and if you just go to lindsayschoolcraft.com, all my social media is there. You can come follow me. I try to be as active as I can on all platforms. Midnight ranting and rambling on Twitter, all that fun stuff. Yeah, like it just, you know, and if you can't do it, I don't expect people to spend money during this time. I was actually really shocked recently with I did a early release of the 12-inch vinyls for Martyr, and they sold out in 26 hours.
Wow.
I'm really grateful. Like, I was not expecting that. It was just like a try. I was like, I'm gonna try this. But if you go to like any of my links, you'll find the free songs, and it's on my website. You can just get free songs from my album. You can sign up for my mailing list. I'm supposed to send out the monthly newsletter. I have not done it yet because packaging 80 orders took longer than I thought it would, but it's okay. it's part of it. I can't have my team over, so I had to do it myself. Yeah, that's honestly the best way. I appreciate it. Just people being here and watching and asking questions is more than enough, so no worries.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to everybody who, regardless of like the hard times, they've still been buying the music and supporting and buying the merch. And I mean, it's amazing. I think it's really incredible that people are still, taking the time to support. And is there anything else you would like to share? Any other tips? Anything else?
Is there any more questions?
There is one more question from Richard. He wants to know, again, about the touring. Any places you want to play the next time you go on tour?
Hey, Richard. Well, thanks for asking. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'd love to do North America, Europe, Australia. I'd love to do a world tour. I mean, mainly, I think
North America.
And Europe would probably be like my main two that I really want to hit up. And I still haven't been to Iceland. That's like something I don't know if my music is big there. I doubt it. I'll just look at the Facebook stats. Probably not. But I'd still actually like to show up. So yeah, I mean, I when my health is a lot better and there's money to actually invest into going on tour, like absolutely I'll do it. But in the meantime,
I think a lot of people are asking about touring. I think they want to see you go on tour.
Oh, well, I'd love to. I mean, I got to work on my stage moves. Like I really have to like get down some stage moves, you know, and get like my guitarist Cody is working on making sure we have a really awesome light show, which I appreciate. Like I have a really awesome band. They are so in it to win it, as I always say. So yeah, that's like definitely the future. But more than anything right now, I just want to write so much new music, especially songs I've been sitting on for so long. Like now that I don't have to like all of a sudden like up and pack a bag and leave because of Cradle of Filth anymore. I mean, I can just, there's so much I have to offer. Like I can't wait. Like, you know, it's really a new life for me. I feel like a totally different person.
For sure. And do you have any advice from people that have kind of been in your situation where just being like so overwhelmed by a project that they're not necessarily sure if they makes them happy, but at the same time, you know, they need it to live, or any advice for anyone who's kind of not sure what to do?
Yeah, I actually had a really good conversation with like a longtime musician friend recently, and they were going through something similar. And I said, you know what, it's funny, like I'm in my 30s and my friend is too, and I'm like, in your 20s you can abuse the crap out of yourself and you can ignore things and you can like plow through stuff and like, you know, not necessarily take care of yourself in ways that you didn't know that you were supposed to, like mentally and psychologically, emotionally. You didn't really think about any of that stuff. But then in your 30s, that stuff starts showing up in your body in ways you didn't know, like with anxiety, depression, mindset, like self-talk. Self-talk is a huge one. You got to be like your own best friend.
I'm still not looking forward to turn 30 this month.
It's honestly the best. Like it's been the best years of my life. Like don't get me wrong, it has been the best years of my life, but it's like an awakening. And if something is just like not fulfilling you anymore, or you're not being treated properly, or you're not being paid properly, or like, you know, it is just consistently causing you like a huge amount of stress to the point where like your mental health is just in the gutter and you have no value for your life, get out. It is not worth it. Your happiness and your creativity and your health are more important than anything. And if you don't have any of those, nothing is worth losing all of those to. Nothing. It doesn't matter how famous you are, how much money you have, how much people can do for you. It's not worth it. It's such a shallow pursuit, you know? So yeah, definitely like valuing like those things, your happiness, your health, and your creativity. And you can be happy and creative because then you have the energy to talk about the shitty things that happen to you and put them into a song. You know, a creating artist is a happy artist. Very true. So, you know, like that's honestly my best advice. Like if you're going through something and things are just so unjust and they're not working in your higher good anymore, and I'm not saying take advantage of people, but like if you're in a position where you don't feel like you're valued, you gotta let it go. It doesn't matter. Like, and you know, when I left Cradle of Filth, and it was all in very good terms, they were very supportive and we're still friends. I was so scared people are gonna hate me and be mad at me because my mental health was like in the gutter, but like the fans showed up. I didn't really like, everyone's still around and we're having a great time. And like, I'm so grateful. I didn't really lose anything. I'm sad. I didn't want to leave Cradle of Filth, but if I stayed, I would have never got better. And they're the super planners. Like they just go and go and go. They don't stop. You know what I mean? And yeah, I definitely would be in the hospital by now if I stayed in that band because I wouldn't have taken the time for myself to get better. And now I'm sad, but I'm grateful it happened. But at the same time, it's like I've gained everything. Like I couldn't be more happy to be living the life I'm living now. So And I still got them. I still got my friends. Me and the guys still text each other memes and stuff.
Amazing.
So I'm really happy about that.
Such great advice, honestly, and you're honestly one of those musicians myself and a lot of people that know you really look up to you, because honestly, just
so sweet.
Overall great person and such a talented musician.
Oh, I feel the same about you. Thank you.
Thank you. Lindsay, thank you so much for joining us, and can't wait to hear the new album. And to see updates about that. I know you've been posting some videos from the recording and any live videos, so people can check those out on your page.
Yeah.
And just thank you everybody who's been joining us on the live today. I also wanted to thank the musicbusinessschool.com for sponsoring the event. And if any musicians are interested in being part of the conversation, please you can message us on Facebook, and we'll talk.
Thank you for having me. It was awesome.
Thank you, everyone. And thank you, Lindsay.
Of course.
Good luck on your project. Can't wait to hear the album.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
You too.
Bye.